one less thing just to make sure we can all see the pen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because half the time I'll be streaming the wrong screen and you can't see it, and then I realize like 20 minutes later it's like, all right, nice. So can anybody tell me what the goal of our comp is here? It's like what we're playing for, what we have to be careful against, anything like that?
The ball and Echo to be able to get a pick early, and then everyone else being able to snowball in. That's the simplest way of putting it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for an isolated target, so that way I can...
And you are... Sorry, I read
Ball.
your name. Okay, you're the ball. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry.
So my job is to scout an isolated target and then find a way to slam them and possibly get a pick, and if that's not doable, then my job is just to roll through them and play slow and try to build mines.
Okay. So you said one thing is like ISO targets. The other thing is to like roll through and build for ult, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, what would you do if they had like ball tracer, they had their brigs then, and then they had like the other two just kind of like, let's say like hovering over here. It's not really any isolated targets, right? So you probably wouldn't go for any ISO. And then trying to look for roll throughs, do you think it's really super valuable to like roll through like just two people? Like a ball going against a ball and tracer, I don't think it's a very good trade. So probably not them, right? So probably not that. You can't really do a roll through against a brig because she'll just bash and whip you away and you'll get discorded, right? So probably not that. So you'd probably be looking to roll through these two, whatever these two are, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it to do a roll through on two people?
If they're standing there and my team is trying to contest them, if I can just push them a little bit forward and a bit out of position, and possibly turn that push into a slam.
Yeah, so that's
that way my team can follow
to force them to be out of position and then look for follow from there. Yeah, that can work. Yeah, no. So that is an option. Now, one thing that you do have to be careful about as ball is, especially going against a ball and tracer, because if these two are smart, their ball and tracer are just going to try to find you and hunt you down all game long. And the reason why is because you don't have a tracer of your own to protect you, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I noticed that instead we have Echo and we have Kree. What's the idea behind these picks? Because we were talking about looking for an early pick and then trying to snowball in, yeah. But we have like Echo, who's like kind of spam and then kind of dive. We have Kree, who's primarily for poke. We have Zen, who's primarily for poke. Brig's whole job is to bodyguard the Zen, right? Ball is kind of like the Echo here. She's like a poke. Dive, and then we have Ball, who's also like a poke dive, right? So we have way more poke than we do actual dive, and we have very, very little brawl potential. We kind of have brawl with the diva and kind of the Kree because of like fall off damage, and then kind of brig, yeah. So we don't really have that much that we need to actually be brawling, and instead, actually, I think it'd be a lot smarter of us to be playing 4-hour poke instead, because comparing the two comps, we have a Kree and they have a tracer, everything else is a mirror, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're trying to run into them, that tracer is going to get way more value because it's going to be a rotation on our end, and it's going to allow that tracer to get in on like a side flank and then, pester the Kree or, pressure out the Zen, right? So we have to be careful about like actually trying to like walk into them when we have more poke than they do. Instead, if we played it more patiently, we would have just a much more coherent game plan, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any other like thoughts or like anything like that before we actually see what we end up doing?
Not currently, no.
Okay. So the reason why I'm talking about this before we actually see this, because I wanted to kind of see where your guys' mind was at with what we're doing, and then I wanted to talk about it so we can see, okay, like it's a mirror comp, but we have more poke than they do, so we want to be playing it slower and like kind of baiting them onto the point for open space, right? Because if they're playing on point because they have to eventually cap it, that's going to open them up to a wide open area for us to poke them out from, wherever we might be stationed. Yeah, so we want to kind of like play slow, wait for point to unlock, and then look for picks, and then we can look to snowball with our Zen after we get those picks. But we're not really looking to like walk into them, right? We can play it slow and patient. Okay, so let's see. Oh my god, Paul. All right. Hang on, I'm gonna move this over here.
Now, asking you, you can see the Echo clearly made it a dumb decision there. Because I kind of just went in super aggro on the Zen.
Yeah, little fast, and like that's why we are talking about. We want to be playing it slower. The longer this fight goes on, the more value we'll find. Cool. And then we end up capping, and now we can look to be pushing because the fight is not only over, but they don't have their ball, they don't have their trace, they don't have their echo, so they don't have anybody who could potentially like pressure us on a rotation, right? And that's probably the biggest thing. Now, I would also say that one of the biggest mistakes that led to our victory was their ball and tracer were not in sync at all. And something that you'll notice, especially at like, with better teams, is that ball and tracers are like glued together. And that makes it much harder to deal with. But fortunately, these guys seem to be kind of lost, so you guys are doing fine. Something that you do want to try to keep in mind, though, is that with both of these comps equally, they're both playing for the Zen's LOS, because Zen is absolutely busted, and he gives advantage in any type of like 1v1 situation, right? Which is also why he's really, really popular with like ball and tracer, right? And that's why you typically see a tracer instead of a Kree. Because discords are very strong, but the harmony too is incredibly strong. I don't know if any of y'all have ever tried to kill a tracer with a harmony orb on her.
Oh, it's difficult.
But shit's ridiculous. Yeah, it's really, really hard and really annoying to try to play against a harmony orb, because anytime you're reloading, anytime you're not actively doing damage, they're just going to be healing back up like a fucking mercy pocket. And on top of that, Zen Discord does 25% of all incoming damage. So if you guys have good target focus, which you should, right? If we're all shooting the same person, that's 25% from you and you and you and you and you and you, which is 150%. That's a 150. So that's 150% bonus damage onto a single target if our target focus is good, right? Which is a lot of damage. So one of the things, though, is that means that we need to be playing for our Zen's LOS, right? So if our Zen is sitting back here and they have their Zen here, right? We can't really dive their Zen. No, we can't, because then we don't have our Zen's orbs, right? That means we don't have healing, we don't have brig packs, because the brig should be with the Zen, right? So we don't have healing, we don't have packs, we don't have the harmony to make this guy get deleted, right? So what we have to do is we have to be clearing out space for our Zen to walk. So for example, if their Zen is here and our Zen is here, and they have, their ball or whatever in this room, kind of like they did earlier, right? Our job is to force this ball out of this space, so that way our Zen can move up and get LOS of their Zen, right? That way we can orb him and slam him and sticky him and he'll die, okay? So it's going to be very important to see what we need to do for our Zen to enable him to do the things that we want to do. And the reason why I talk about that is because even though we were chasing for these kills earlier here, we chased for the Brig and the Zen, but we overextended for it, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, at this point, they're out. And the reason that they're out is because they've already backed up too far to the point to where you're not going to get any help. And their team is coming back. The Echo's coming back. The ball is back, right? So at this point, if we're overextending, these two that we were talking about earlier are going to punish our extension, right? And that's exactly what happens. Yeah. So it's like, cool, we got the Zen, but... so we got both supports, but I think, don't we end up losing our Echo in the process?
Yeah, I died.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's gonna be problematic, because even though like they have to wait for their supports to come back, like it's going to be problematic because of the fact that they're going to be able to build their ults and they can just sit here and poke and they don't have to hard engage on anything, and we don't have our echo to actually like make any like counter engage, right? Because that means like our ball can't do anything because our echo's dead, because if ball goes in he doesn't have any follow-up, right? There's no echo with him. So all we can really do here is poke, meaning we should be playing further back, right? So we actually have the time to poke, but right now our Kree is kind of out of position. And if their ball is smart and their tracer smart, they'll slam them and kill them. But I've seen these guys already, and I don't think they're going to do that. Ball's getting bullied. Our Kree got picked because he's just really out of position there. It's gonna suck, but like if they have a tracer and we have a Kree, then our Kree needs to sit much tighter to their core, because that means we don't have anything to deal with a tracer. And even if our Kree goes off on his own and is 1v1ing the tracer, regardless if he wins or loses that, he's losing a lot more value than the tracer is, because tracer's whole kit is built around 1v1s and Kree's is not, right? Like, yeah, he has a flash, which helps him in a 1v1 situation, but Kree gets way more value off of being able to CC the ball engage, right? Or, you know, pressure out the enemy echo. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But Tracer can't do those things. She doesn't have CC to stop a ball engage. She can kind of shoot at the echo, but if echo gets orbed, then that's the end of that, you know? Tracer's whole thing is she has to follow up with the ball. Kree's whole thing is he needs to deny that ball engage. So if ball can't go in, that means Tracer can't go in. But if our Kree just like splits off, he's going to get picked by the ball and tracer. And that's what happens. Fortunately, we have trans, so we pop trans for it. Which I want to see real fast. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was trying to save Brig, but
No, I mean that's fine. What I was trying to look at is to see if we had a Discord target before we pop trans, because you should always try to get a Discord off. I mean, just in general, but especially if you're gonna pop trans, and then we need to be trying to call that target, because anything that's discorded should die, right? And that comes to our Zen to be trying to discord the target that's being called, but it also comes to our team to be trying to shoot at the discorded target. Okay, so we need to try to listen to Discord calls and make sure that person is dead. Even if you guys don't think it's the right target, it's more important to focus the discorded target down, because anybody that's discorded will die, even if you don't think it's the right target. And if you don't think it's the right target, then we can always talk about it in VODs or talk about it after the fight or after map is probably best, right? And we got to improve our target focus. But by just ignoring Discord calls or, you know, things like that, then we're never going to improve, right? We need to follow a bad call so we can make the call be better, as opposed to ignoring the bad call and then we fail because of teamwork. That's going to be a really important thing, because also right now one of the big things that I'm noticing is our target focus is off, because this ball was at half health, the echo is discorded, and we demeched a diva, right? Which tells me that we're all kind of shooting at different things. Good kill on the Brig, and I think we end up stabilizing this fight, maybe. Maybe not. Wow, these guys are really bad.
It was interesting.
Yeah, these guys, I don't know who you guys are playing against, but they're really not very good.
Yeah, funny, we're so lost this scrum.
Minor details.
Oh, sorry. Well, I mean, okay, the reason why I say that is because, I mean, so you guys were trying to stall it out, right?
Yeah.
But then you let them flip it, which is not good, right? That's a big mistake from you guys.
Yeah.
But that's all right. It's whatever, it happens. But the second they capped it, you guys should have backed out to stabilize, right? Because all these guys have to do is they just have to keep a tracer right here, right? Or have their ball sit like here and then touch the point, and then they stop you guys from capping, and they just sit here and build percent while they stabilize. And if they stabilize and you guys don't, then the second they get one more person, they just hard int on you guys, and then you guys die, because you have an echo, a baby diva, and just a Brig, and you don't have anything else, right? So the first thing they should do is look to slam and kill the Echo, right? And then they have the Diva here to follow the Echo. She tries to fly away. Brig could drop all 3 packs, but this Echo still at the end of the day only has 200 health, and the slam mixed with like a 1 clip from the Tracer should be enough to kill an Echo even through packs, especially if it's discorded, but the Zen is dead and coming back. But even then, you guys have no pushing power, right? Because the Echo can't like extend for like a Tracer that's over here. You know, if there's a Tracer sitting here, like the Echo can't push on her, because then she's gonna overgreed and die to anybody that's coming back from their side.
Accurate.
Yeah. So you guys should just be backing out at this point because they've already flipped the point. And they're trying to back off and stabilize, but they're all doing it in the same direction, which is really bad from them because that means that this Echo is going to get way more value. Instead, they have 3 mobility-based heroes. They should be like spreading out to where if they pushed on 1, then the other 2 could pinch in, but they're not doing that. And then on top of that, right here, the ball used mines, but now he's making the exact same mistake that I was just talking to you guys about like overextending to stop that touch, right? And so he's doing that with a mine, this is 2, which is an even bigger fuck up, right? All he had to do is like to stop you guys from capping and then wait for you guys to push him and then drop mines, and then that would have been infinitely better. But he's overextending and dies for it, maybe? Yeah. Let's go to the next map though, because I don't want to spend too much time on just one map and one comp.
I'm not gonna watch my Tracer 1 clip though. It was clean.
Do you think you can do it again?
It relies on people standing still and being scoped in. As a Genji player, that isn't. Yeah.
I'm a DPS player myself, so anytime someone's like, "Yo, but I had a 6 shot," I'm like, "Cool, just do it again then."
Oh, 5 hours this week I can stop streaming.